Oh, gamer. Not too well? What? What's that? For real? You got issues going on with teachers? Cringe. Or people in power positions in general who don't deserve it are abusing the hell out of it? Cringe. Cringe? Well, gamers, I've got, I don't know if testimonials the right word for it. Future Brad, correct me on that one, but I'm going to share with you my experience and my new and improved way of handling it. Of course, it was about a semester-long ordeal with this teacher. That's about how long I had them for without ceasing. And afterwards, I realized what I did right and what I did wrong, what I could have done better, and what I did perfectly, honestly, completely by accident. So gamers, let's just jump right into it, epic style. If you're wondering what I obnoxiously slammed on the table, this is my important physical evidence that I can't just put on a cloud folder. It includes things like lawsuit, papers, etc. Assignments. Mostly it's just assignments from that English teacher who was a complete piece of cringe. So how about we just jump right into the story of her, shall we? So before I get into it, and I know I just said I would, sorry to tease you like that, gamers can't really help it. Before I get into it, gamers, I just want to explain to you the spark notes of the story. Pun completely intended. So a lot happened. Basically, I ended up with a 7-page list, bulleted, of all the things that she did to me and a few of my classmates, the ones I was friends with. She specifically targeted me, and I even got testimonials from other classmates saying, hey, yeah, she was totally, completely biased against you. We even kind of tested it out to like see how far it would go. For example, with something along the lines of disrupting class with, you know, speaking during or something like that. This is my sophomore year of high school, just for context purposes. And I'm just going to give one example, but it's one of many, and it's not the worst. One day, I walked into class with my friends, and, you know, we all sat at this one 4-person table, and that's how groups worked, whatever you know, I'm sure you know the format if you've ever been to public American school. And so what she did was just one of the most passive-aggressive pieces of crap you can imagine. She placed each one of our desks at a corner of the room and assigned a group project due at the end of class to be peer-reviewed in front of everybody. So we completed it anyway, and we got a good grade anyway. But after we did, immediately after, she said, well, these people did the same subject as you, but they got a little bit better of a score, literally by 1 point. So you get a 0. And here's the kicker, gamers. Take note. Here's the big #1 thing you have to do with cringe people that have an abusive relationship with their power and you. Take physical notes. Here's what I did. I asked to clarify, hey, so just to clarify, you're doing this? And then I literally said verbatim what she did when introducing the way we were going to get our papers graded, and that we were going to get a 0 for this class assignment, to which we were separated for the duration of class. And she said yes, so I just shut up and wrote it down, silently. But I didn't make it discreet. I had a very clear, separate notebook that I pulled out for these scenarios. There were many of them, obviously, and just wrote it down, word for word, what she said. I said, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, good to know. Comments like that. Nothing obscene, nothing starting a ruckus. That shuts most people up, especially people who generally avoid confrontation and take the passive-aggressive route. Additionally, they've got no ammunition. You do not want to load your oppressors, for lack of a monetizable word, pee-pee-poo-poo launcher, okay? Avoid that at any and all costs, because they will use it against you. They will empty their clip upon you in any way, shape, or form. Now, the result of all this, at the end of the day, was me compiling a list. Of course, I made it online. Cloud backup, I use Google Docs. Very, very intuitive. I'm glad it's snappy now. So I recommend Google Docs. It just automatically backs everything up to your email account. And don't just have it on one email account, especially don't just have it on your school account. God knows how deep-rooted the corruption is. You may even have to go to the state boards. And we almost went there a few times. Story time for another day. But what I did was included all the information of me and everybody involved. All of it, including our class schedules. You know, what grade we were in, the names of the bloody teachers in the class periods that we had, and what times they did, and if there was a deviated schedule, what that was as well, the room numbers so that they could find us and call us in out of class to discuss this. And afterwards, I made sure this got to the principal, top, head of the head. I said, first I went to the desk and I said, look, is there a way I can get to this principal? To this paper, to the principal, I brought a physical copy, and she said, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I said, okay, great, excellent. Thank you so much. I just want to make sure they see it. Nothing necessarily has to happen yet. Thank you so much for your time. You know, very polite and concise, to the point. So I didn't really hear back for a few weeks. That's something you might have to anticipate. Check back. Schedule a time to where you check back. It'll probably be a few weeks to a month or a month and a half. Check back. Schedule it beforehand. Before you turn the paper in, schedule a time where you're going to check in, okay? Eventually, I did. I checked in, I think, 3 times. That includes email communication, so it was taken seriously by the principal. It probably just never exchanged hands properly. I probably should have understood my front desk better, something along the likes. Make sure it gets to your principal, basically, or whoever the highest form of authority that you have physical access to is. And from there, the principal had a discussion with the teacher. They called it an investigation over the summer. They said they weren't allowed to explain what they were going to do to this teacher or about them. But they said, rest assured, action is being taken. Before you know it, the next year, even a little bit before then, I heard about an investigation on this teacher who's going on. Unfortunately, they kept their job, and I keep hearing things to this day of them mistreating students. Luckily, not nearly in the severity that they were before. And let me give a few more examples of just how atrocious she was. 2 off the top of my head, just so, sorry about that. I just doxed myself. You know, I live near an airport. Gamer, specifically you, all right? She tried to go after me personally, figure out what I was insecure about. I didn't give too many hints. Lucky for me, I developed the habit of not doing so. But she knew my handwriting was terrible and that I was trying to work on it. My handwriting was terrible. That was plain to see, like no crap. And of course I was working on it. It's literal chicken scratch. Still is, because I do a lot of my work on the computer. But what she did was, instead of talking to me one-on-one, saying like, cool, I'm having trouble reading your paper or whatever. No other teachers gave me this complaint, by the way. Not a one. But she decided to obnoxiously announce to the class, like this, with my full name, that my handwriting was just terrible and that you shouldn't follow this example holding up my work. So I just audibly said, like, thank you, or something like that. Or more, it was like a, thank you. No, it was like that. Thank you. All right. In a tone that says, yeah, I heard you. I'm not going to cower. That's another fairly solid way, one that I could have handled better. I'm still not 100% sure how I could have handled it better, but having a rough tone usually weighs your opponent's side of the battle, if that makes sense. So that's something you want to avoid. Aggressiveness of any kind. Keep it really, really clean and classy. And honestly, what I learned from this is that you're going to have to deal with people like this constantly, and that it's best to look at it as a learning as a learning experience. That way, you're better prepared, more equipped, and you don't go in from scratch. In the future, cringe people like this, you go in from experience. Epic style. So gamers, let's just give a little bit of a summary right here. I'm going to give off a list of things that you should do step by step to take care of cringe people like this, more particularly teachers. Write it down. Compile it. Back it up. Make all of your steps obvious but classy. Get it to authority. That's it. 4 steps to handling cringe teachers. Epic style, or cringe people of authority as a whole. Gamers, stay epic, all right? And caress.
No. Listen, y'all. These kids want to act up in school, want to go to school and embarrass you, want to make like they got no home training. So I told my son, don't go to school and embarrass me no more.
But gamers, I'm done with the terrible wisecracks to get a like button comment in there. Honestly, the dislike button is equally tantalizing at this point. So just go at whatever you see fit. I love you, specifically you, gamer. Stay epic. Talk soon.